everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with a brand new project for the month of September. So if you are new and you've never done a project with us before, please go ahead down in the description below and you can sign up down there to get all the free printables emailed to you every week this month. Okay, now I know this is probably like the most exciting day of the month for all of us, but so what we are going to be creating this month is a Gothic family album, and this is going to be Wraithwood themed. Now, if you don't know what Wraithwood is, it is a world that I created, and a lot of my kits exist in this world. So there's kits for Christmas, for fall, there's like Wraithwood Forest, Wraithwood Village, Wraithwood Christmas, Wraithwood everything. And basically what it is it's just like a Gothic castle with some spooky mysteries, a little bit of werewolf action in there. And so I thought it would be fun if we made a Wraithwood family album. Now, don't stress out if this is like, what? I don't want to do that. I will provide you guys with alternate images to put in the family album so that if you're not into this whole, Gothic kind of mysterious, creepy family thing, that's fine. There'll be other stuff for you to put in here. You can make it like floral based or whatever. It will be Gothic still because, that's the theme of the of this month's printables. So I'm going to show you really quickly all of the printables, and I'm also going to show you a prototype of what we're going to be making, because for the first time in, I think, a very, very long time, I'm going to tie this month's freebie into a full junk journal kit, okay? Because this theme, I just love it so much. So basically the freebie is going to be the family album, and then there'll be a kit in my shop later on this month that will be more of like a Wraithwood, like kind of encompassing estate, like mysterious kit for that. So I'm not going to tell you too much about that now. It's on the, it's on its way. I think I'm going to release it next week, just to give myself a little bit of extra breathing room, because we have we also still have to finish up last month's freebie on Wednesday. So I apologize for all of the announcements. I just kind of wanted you guys to know what's coming up. And I have a few more things to tell you that I'll just kind of work into this as we move along. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you the printables. And I'll start with the papers because they just happen to be on top this time. Usually I do those last, but since they're on top, we'll do the top. So for this kit, because it's this is the first pack of printables, I put the papers in both landscape and portrait orientation. Because of the way that the pages are oriented and sized for this project, I had to use portrait instead of landscape. Landscape is my preferred because it feels bigger to me in my head. I don't know why, but I prefer design and landscape, but because of the size of these, I'm in portrait for this week, but I may not be in portrait every week, so I wanted to give you both orientations of papers in case you wanted to use these later on. Okay, so to start, we have this stripe here, which is kind of like a wallpaper. This like kind of worn look, which if you've had any of my kits, this is one of my favorite looks. The linen that's like kind of grungy. There is this watercolor damask here, and then I have a hellebore pattern here, which one of my favorites, just so beautiful. And then we have the lace, which I may have used this in another kit. This is one of my all-time favorite patterns here. And then I have like a lighter lavender, or a kind of a dusty lavender, I guess, actually, linen here. Okay, and those are my papers for this first batch of, the first batch of printables for this project, okay? Now, we're going to move into the actual pieces to the kit, and I'm going to show you the prototype I have here so you can know what we're heading towards. Okay, so what we're heading towards is a recessed cover, okay? And then inside of it, this is like kind of like an accordion hinge binding. So it's like a photo album. Like a lot of photo albums have this type of hinged binding. So I'm going to show you how we make it. You can see here the lace in between. This isn't fully finished because it was just my prototype, but I wanted you to see where we're going, and then I'll show you. Now I'm going to go through these papers. This is the cover, okay? You don't see it here because I have my recessed piece on here. The papers I know are oriented kind of weird, but because of the size, that's just how it worked out. If you prefer to cut your own covers out of one of the background papers, like if you want to use a different paper, these are just 4x5. Okay, so that's the size that they are if you prefer to do that. So there's the exterior cover and the interior cover, or you can switch them. They're the same size. So if you want to use one over the other, just you can use them however you want. If you want to print 2 of these and use them in the outside and the inside, totally fine. If you prefer to cut them out of the background paper, like I was limited by the constraints of Photoshop and my printer and all of that stuff by what I could fit on the page, so I had to put these on 2 separate pages. Okay, this is the front piece, and it will look familiar to you if you did inkbound or you made the bookcase or any of those pieces. It's a similar construction to that. This is the spine, okay, and I know it looks kind of scary, but I will explain it to you when we put it together. And then this is the outside, or this is the outside of the book. So this will be this part of the spine here. And then this is the inside of the book, which is the piece that you see here. And it's the piece that's holding all of these in here. So I planned for this project to be multi-layered and full of interesting stuff. So we're going to make the base today, which is this book. And then next week we will actually start working with portraits, and I will, I have a family tree and everything made. So I will have a diverse selection of characters for you to choose from. I probably won't do any kids unless somebody's like, we have to have kids. But I prefer to stick with adults personally, but I will have a full range of characters for you guys to choose from and put in your book. There are 6 pages in this book, which gives you 12 sides here. But there'll be lots of options for tip-ins and stuff. And these fold like this. So there is a pocket here if you desire. Okay, so let's get into the actual making. These are just the pages here. And what I did here for this is there's 3 designed options of pages here. Now, you can print 1 of each of these. You can print 2 of this one, 1 of this one, 3 of this one. Any combination, you just need 3 sets. So you need 6 total folded pages. Okay, so the other thing I did is I created this template for you guys, which is the page template, so that if you want to, you can use one of these background pages instead. All you need to do is print this and then print this on the back of it, okay? And then that'll give you the cut lines that you need to, this is a weird measurement, or I would have just told you what the measurement was, but it's weird. So, yeah, okay? So there is that, and let's get started on the actual making. Okay, I have pre-inked, pre-scored everything. So I'm going to go over, you will need to score this on every single one of these lines. Okay, see how there's a lot of score lines back there? The reason this is inked like this is because I didn't print anything on the back of it. So I wanted to make sure that no white is going to show no matter how this is glued together. Okay, this needs to be scored here on these, here. And then these need to be scored on all the lines for this one as well. okay? So every single one of these needs to be scored. These right here, this thing here, it needs to be snipped right here on all 4 sides, okay? If you mess up and snip it in the wrong way, it doesn't matter as long as you don't cut it off, okay? Because this is just our tab to help secure the whole thing together, okay? And I'll show you how that goes together in a second. All of the pages, these are the covers, exterior, interior, but all of the pages, the ones that look like this, okay, they just need to be folded in half. Okay, I did print on the back of mine because I plan to leave mine open for top pockets, okay, because I want to have plenty of places to hide stuff in my book. So we will be setting the portraits on top of these pages as well, so you will also have the opportunity to create pockets behind the portraits as well. Okay, and I'm going to do photographs, like sepia toned photographs for this. So that will be what our portraits will be in for this one here. And, okay, so, all right, now that I've gone through all of that, I'm going to go ahead and start with the assembly. And I think what I will start with is this one here. We'll get this done and then we'll assemble the book, okay? Once you have this all scored, it is pretty easy to put together. Now, you can put this together like either way. Like if you want to put it together based on whatever background page you picked, you want to put it together like this. If you want to put it together so this shows on here, then you're going to want to put it together so that everything folds in towards this this side here, and then whatever you printed on the back will be your center. Okay, so I'm gonna do mine so that I'm folding in this way. I think I'm gonna fold it this way here. Okay, so you're gonna start with your side ones, and the way this works here is that this here just basically rolls up and makes the side. This piece is the same size as this piece, so it's sized to make sure that you have everything in the correct place, okay? It's harder to mess this up because of that. So if you want to, like when you go to glue this, make sure this here is butted up against the back wall, which is this piece right here, and you'll be in good shape, okay? Okay, so here's what I'm thinking here. The reason I printed this paper on the back of mine is I want it to look kind of like overgrown on the edges, because I have like a little bit of a mental plan here that I would like to fill my recessed area with like a gravestone and then maybe some flowers, and kind of make this like kind of like a memento mori, like a, you know, like a token like that for this book to go with the bigger journal, because I'm feeling like obviously all of this takes place in the past, so this would be like a remembrance type of a situation. So that is my thinking here. Okay, so I also tested all different kinds of glue, and the white glue, best glue to use for this. Tape was a disaster. Fabri-Tac was a mess. So this white glue, I'm using Nuvo Deluxe. One of the reasons I love this glue is because it grabs very quickly. I believe that art glitter glue will put you in the same sort of category there with that. Okay, so basically I just folded my tab in and I put the glue on the last tab, okay, which is this one at the end. So you're going to be gluing this last tab on all of them, okay? We're going to do the sides first, and then we do the ends because they have to wrap around the sides, okay? So we're going to do that one here, 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 okay? And then this one goes like this, okay? We're going to do the same thing here. And then we're going to put our glue on the last tab. Okay, and then this up basically, and then just glue it. And I know I have it in the right place because I can feel that bottom piece of cardstock hitting this here, okay? So if you've never actually made one of these before, that is how you know that you're hitting it in the right place. You know what I mean? Okay, now we're gonna glue the two end tabs in, okay? So we're gonna take these two little pieces that are here, and we're gonna fold those in, okay? We're gonna put glue on the back of those. Okay, just a little bit of glue, a little bit of glue, and then we're gonna fold up this on this line, the bottom line there. Fold that up. Okay, because we want those little tabs to kind of secure onto our, onto the, what do you call it? This end tab. Sorry. Okay, and then this is going to kind of come up and roll over. So you're going to do the same thing you did before. You're going to roll that over and under. Okay, it'll be a little bit, probably be a little bit snug. That's good. You want it to be snug. And then you'll feel it hit the back again. Okay. One thing I did forget to mention is you want to bend your creases both ways when you do this, when you're doing your like actual scoring, and then when you press your creases with the bone folder, because I realized that when I was doing this, like I did not crease mine going both ways, and I had to go back and do it because not every fold bends the same way. All right, so that one's going to go through that. I'm sorry, I didn't put the glue on that when I showed you, so I'm now just putting the glue in. I'm going to roll that under. Okay, and then all of this should pull together, and it should give you some nice, really nice, pretty corners right here on the end. Okay, so now we're going to do the other one. I'm just going to hold that there for a second. All right, so now I'm going to do the other end here. Do that there, and then this tab here, just fold it all the way in. You're going to have to like kind of look at it while you're folding this side up so that you can get the tabs into the right place. Okay, if you're having trouble, you can cut off one of the corners, like this top corner piece here, to get it to sit right. Sometimes really it just depends on the paper, it depends on the fold, it depends on the score line. All of the, oops, I should have held that down longer. All of the score lines on here are like a 1/4 to an 1/8 to a 1/2 inch. So they should line up pretty decently on your scoreboard, I hope. They did okay on mine. I was pretty happy with them. Sometimes they don't line up right, and sometimes I just wonder if it's the scoreboard. You know, like sometimes I'll use my mini scoreboard, and sometimes I'll use like my big Martha Stewart one. And I noticed that they're just different. Things line up differently on them, even though they both say 1 inch. You know. So, okay. But once you get that first score line lined up, especially with this here, you should be able to get this one lined up and then just boom, 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 go right down the row. That just took a few minutes to score. Took a little bit longer to fold though. Okay, so now I'm folding this one in just like the other one. I'm going to kind of hold these both down together because that one does need to be. Okay, so, oh God, I love how this came out. Okay. I don't know, is like saying you like your own work, like wearing your own band's t-shirt. Okay, so I have this piece now, so I'm going to set this aside to dry. Okay, this is going to be my front piece on my book. Okay, now we're going to work on our signature block, basically. Okay, so this is like a hinge binding with an accordion fold. Okay, so like basically we pinch up the black and the gray one, pinch up. We're going to glue in between each black and gray stripe. Now, when you look at the back, you'll be able to tell because this is 1/8 of an inch and this is, I believe, 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so it's going to be glue the 2 fat ones, leave the skinny one. Glue the 2 fat ones, leave the skinny one, okay? And then what we're going to do is we'll attach our pages onto this little tiny protrusion here. And then it makes like a cute little photo book when we're done, okay? All right, so let's get glue in here. So I'm going to glue across here. I didn't put my thing back on the little... So I'm just gonna glue along here. Okay, and then I'm gonna pinch that this first set together. Okay, just like that. Now, you may want to put clips on these. It's very hard to glue the next one if you have a clip on it. So you just might need to be patient while you're doing this, just because I just found it so hard to manage all the clips. It made it really heavy and it made it curl up on itself, which I didn't much care for. So, okay, so now I've got, I'm going to do the second one now, okay? So just the second one, just the two black, the black and the gray, or they're both pretty black, but they're two different colors just so, you know, you could see them for the scoring. Okay, so now you're going to pinch that one up, okay? So now we have two of them. And those two are sticking up, okay? So now we're going to go on to our next one here, which is going to be this one and this one. And then these pieces right here will form the back of the actual spine. Okay, so let's get the glue on there. Okay, and then, okay, I'm going to pinch the next one and glue those two together. Okay, so I made like a bunch of these today, you know, because I had to like test all of my stuff out. And I did find that if you do it like this, it's a little bit easier in the end because, like I said, when I tried it with the clips and stuff, it just curled up on itself. And then weirdly, when I tried the Fabri-Tac, it took forever to set, and I don't know why that was, because I thought the whole deal with Fabri-Tac was, you know, it was like using a glue gun, so it would set really fast, but it did not set fast. So okay, so we're gonna do the next one here. I also tried tape. Don't use tape because if you mess up, you have to start over. Like glue, you have that moment, you know what I'm talking about, of forgiveness, where like if things aren't exactly right, you can kind of still recover. Okay, I'm gonna run this here along the crease here, just to pull that in. And make sure that, like, I want to make sure that my, what do you call it? My little crease is creased. Okay, so see, I have all my little tiny ones here. That one's there. All right, so I have, let's see how we go. I just like to look at it and make sure they're all laying flat, because they don't always all lay flat. Okay, that's why I say it's important to like make them go back and forth. Every crease, do both ways. Okay. There we go. All right, so we're going to pinch up the next set right here. And then just pinch those two together. And also, like, I entirely invented this process on my own. So if anybody has ever made one of these and done it differently, that's why. So, like, I just looked at a photo album in our house and cooked this whole thing up. So you may have made these differently in the past. I can't wait to hear. Because I didn't know that I was binding books in a weird way until You guys told me that, like, most people cut their strings. But I was, like, sewing it in continuously. That's because when I started doing this, you guys, I was going to the library to get books, so the internet wasn't such a big deal. Alright, I think I might need a little extra glue down at the end here. The first book that I ever made was like made with envelopes for the pages, and it was bound with a ribbon, and I have tried, but I cannot remember how that was done. Because I know I went and got a book from the library to figure, like, just to learn how to make books, and this was one of the ones in there that I tried. It involved an iron, I know that, but I cannot remember what else it did. Okay, so now I'm going to do the last one. The ink that I put on the back of this is getting a little runny from all the glue, but it's okay because nobody's going to see this part. Okay, so we're going to pinch this one up right here. And then I'm going to use my little tool here just to press this together. On both of these sides. And just making sure that this needs to stay together here. I want my little lace inserts here that are between these to be flat. And I want my little black tabs to be sticking up. Okay, and then that will give you a much easier to work with spine on the back in the end. Okay, so that looks good to me. All right, now the trick is we fit it in here, okay? So this is, okay, so actually let's set that over here for just a second. Make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put down some glue stick glue here, as well as using the regular white glue, just so you know the white glue is real strong. The glue stick glue is pretty good too. This does not want to come out. Okay, and then I'm going to take my cover, my outside cover. Okay, I'm just going to pick one of them, and I'm going to glue this together. So this is going to go right up to, but not over the crease, okay? And then just make sure you've got it kind of, lined up this way as well. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just completely glue this over. Okay. Okay, and then just run some of this glue over it, just to make this nice and sturdy. Okay, so let's see here. I was just twisting it around so that the design would be different on both of them, because they end up pretty similar because it's like a repeating pattern that I used. Okay, so now we've got that there. Okay, and now this piece on the back here is going to go here, right inside, and it will fit just inside, okay? So you may have to fiddle with it a little bit. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this because the longer window is great for this part. Okay, so I'm going to put that here. And also there's a lot of like little gappies here, so that also, it helps fill the gaps. Okay, so let's see here. Do I care about what's my front? I don't think I do. Okay. All right, let's line this guy up and just kind of, okay, so you can push it down, and then you'll be able to, because the 2 pieces of paper that we just glued on create kind of like a valley almost for this to fit into. Okay, so you want to make sure it's even top to bottom, and then you just need to check and make sure that the bend for your edge of your spine here, this like the signature block spine, is lined up with the bend for this right here. Okay, I hope I'm explaining this okay. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing over on this side, and you may have to push it in slightly, but because it's like an accordion situation, it will go in. It just it's like flexible, if that's the right word. Sometimes it'll just, it expands a little bit when you or let go of the gluing, if that makes sense. Okay, so now everything is tightly in there. Is that even? Just make sure mine's even. I'm just trying to make it even top to bottom. Looking good. This is a little bit, this side seems like it's a little bit off. I don't know if my window of opportunity is over. It's not a big deal if it is, though, because this is all going to be covered. So, okay. All right. So now let's, I'm just going to make sure that I didn't pull that out of place. Okay. Now, so you just want to let this dry, and then we'll glue our flaps down. Okay. So I'm just going to let mine dry for a second, and I'll be right back. It will be no time for you guys. Okay. Now we can get started on this part. I'm just going to go ahead and glue stick this part to make it easy. And then I'm just going to make sure that goes down. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. We're going to cover this up so it'll be multi-layer glued. So we don't have to worry too much about security here, because it's gonna have redundancy basically. Okay, and then now what we're going to also do is go in between each one of these. It's probably better to use one of these guys here. Okay, and just make sure that everything is pressed into the spine. And you'll be able to tell by just looking at it if everything is adhered down to the spine. Okay. All right, so it should look like this, just little bumpies here and here. Okay, and I'm going to put on the end papers here really quickly. I glued mine a little high, so I'll just trim it off on the top. But I'll be able to, I'm going to put these on here, okay? And then there's going to be so much additional decorating and distressing and stuff like that to this that don't stress about anything. Okay, just glue it on there and everything will be good in the end. Okay, so if it's not absolutely perfect, don't stress. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this here with the glue stick, and then I will put the regular glue on the back of the card here. That's the actual, like, what do you call it? End paper? That's what you call it. And I'm just going to kind of go around the edges with my glue. Middle. Okay, and then I'll just pop this right on here. Same thing, just right into the center crease here without going over it. Okay, so it helps me personally to bend it to make sure that I haven't gone over it. I'm worried that I have. That glue stick is for to give us a little forgiveness. Okay, there we go. So get that right there in that corner. Okay, and now let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so glue stick this here, just because we want to make sure we get a good seal all the way around so it does not hurt to double up on the glue. Okay, and I find this Scotch one here, which is permanent, is great. Just like the Uhu, they're both great. I love them both. The Scotch one's like wetter, I guess is the word I would use. It's very sticky. So you definitely know you're gonna get a pretty good seal with that. And I also like it because like it stiffens up the paper a little bit. So that's also like a good. So I'm just gonna kind of go across here. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. This thing is getting very, what do you call it? Soggy. So you might want to let yours dry in between stages here. That glue stick really helps when it comes to having a little bit of like wiggle room, you know, in there. Really, oh, I love this paper. Okay, awesome sauce. This looks good. Okay. All right, now that I just have a lot of glue everywhere, let's put our pages in. Okay, my plan for this on the edge here is to go around and distress these edges really good. So, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and glue our pages on now. And the way that we are going to do that is by putting a line of glue here and a line of glue here. And if you want to make a pocket, you could put a line of glue down here too. You could leave it open all the way. You could glue the whole thing together like this, okay? You don't need to print anything on the back of it. I just did because I wanted to have something inside my pocket, basically, okay? So what I'm gonna be doing for mine is gluing here, 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 and here so that I have a pocket, okay? On a couple of them, I may not glue all the way. So we'll just see. I'm gonna vary my technique. I'll make an announcement before I do each one on exactly what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. I think I'm gonna just do like this, 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 and then like this. So like my pages are kind of just sequentially going through and repeating. Okay, so glue across the bottom for this one. And on this side, and the same thing for this side. Oops, I got a big glob there. And here. Okay, now you're gonna put this in. Okay. So make sure you know, like, oh my gosh, did I glue that one in upside down? I sure did. You guys, I am so talented at gluing stuff in upside down. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about it now though. Okay, so this is the top. I want the top open. So you're gonna glue this to the first tab. Okay, so just slide it between the first and second tab, kind of get it where you want it, sort of centered in the middle, top to bottom. And then you have this, okay? And then you're just gonna go ahead and go down And I'm just going to use the scoring tool here, or the bone folder, or whatever you want to call it, to press it together, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing with my page here. You could also go back and glue these later if you want. If you want to just glue the pages together so that there's no pocket or anything like that, I would just go ahead and glue stick that whole thing so that the whole thing stays together really nicely for you. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one, which is going to be, I guess it would be this one, the flower one here. I'm wondering about the idea of, like, if I use this like as like a pass-through, I could tie something to the page. So I think I might go ahead and do that on this one. So on this one, I'm only going to put glue on this here, this edge, and then the corresponding edge on this one here. Okay, there we go. And then just slide it in between, in, you know, on the next tab. And then basically what I'm going to do is line these two up so that they're, you know, even. I hope I'm working okay towards the middle here. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to press that side, and then I'm going to press this side. Okay. And now you can see between here and here, I don't want to pull this away too much, but you can totally see the little spine piece there. So we'll have plenty of room to fill this book up with stuff. It's kind of funny that we made a book a week last month, which was crazy, but very rewarding, I have to say. Okay, so now those are together. So we're going to do a purple one. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to glue across the bottom as well. This is, okay, so I'm going to go in an L shape here. And then across the bottom of this one. Okay, so this one, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop this down on the third one. So just slide that guy in there, that one in there, get it like lined up with the other page. Okay, and then we can use our bone folder to go in there and kind of press it against the spine piece. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and press together the bottom where I glued it for the pocket. Making sure everything's sticking together the way it's supposed to. Okay, now we're just going to do the whole thing all over again. So I'm going to start with this. And this time on this one, I will glue just the sides and leave the bottom open. If I change my mind, you know, I can always glue that bottom shut later too. So you may just want to glue your sides down and, you know, leave your options open if you like. It is up to you on that one. Okay. I'm going to see how I want this page to look different, so I'm going to flip it around. Okay, like this, because nobody's going to see the inside, so. Okay. All right, here's the third one, or fourth one, sorry. We're just going to slip it in between those two grooves. Fold this down, so It's one on either side here. Line it up. Got a little glue on that by accident. Okay, now everything is lined up the way that I want it. I'm going to go ahead and with my bone folder and press it. Oh, the other thing I was thinking too is, like, if you're not into the whole, like, you know, Wraithwood thing and you don't want to put, like, pretend people in here, you could put your own family in here. So, you know, I was just thinking that, like, if you wanted to make this, like, a family memento situation, it would work for that too. It would have been wise if I'd said that at the beginning, but, you know, I will make a note to do that next time. Okay, so now we're going to do number 5 of our pages here. I'm hoping to really have time to work on this book this month. You know, because we did do like a huge project last month. But huge in a manageable way, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And I'm going to go across the bottom again, I think. Because I'm really 100% sure that I want to use these for pockets. Because I want to make a lot of, like, you know, mementos and stuff like that to stick in here. Oops. Go down this side. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do this one as well. Okay, so I'm just going to slip this between the two little tabby things and then make sure that all my pages are pretty even. I mean, you could also make them a little bit janky if you wanted, so it looked a little rattier and older. But, like, perfection is not what we're after here, so, you know, just get those guys on there, and then relatively even to each other, and we'll be good. Okay, it gets a little easier over here because you can kind of use your hand as well. Okay, all right, and then we can do our last one. Ooh. This is like the big job, I think, you know, because it's all the cutting and the scoring and the folding and the inking and all of that. And then we'll be able to just kind of really relax and have fun and decorate. Of course, there will still be a lot of cutting. For some reason, I don't think I got enough glue over there. There we go. Okay. Oops, perfect. Okay, I want my pattern to be going a different way. Sorry. That's why I was looking. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those even. Okay, ooh! I just knocked mine out of the way here. Okay, and I'm going to do the other side. All right. I think that's good. All right, look at that. We got a book. I gotta trim that right there. Okay, I just trimmed off my little overage there, and I'll have to re-ink it so that it's covered. But now we have our little book. It is super cute, and I just think it's so pretty. I hope you guys are enjoying yours as well at this point. Okay, so this is our cover, okay? I am going to wait to put mine on until like more towards the end, because once you have this piece on here, this is like a decorative piece, and it just makes it more of a pain to work with it, and this also ends up getting a little bit more beat up. So I'm going to set this piece aside, and then next week what we're going to do is we're going to start in with either our portraits or our paintings, depending on what you know, what kind of theme that you want to go with for yours. And then if you do want to use your own photos, definitely bring those to the table, and you can insert those instead of the paintings, because I'll do frames and everything. So I have tons of stuff planned, and this is gonna be super fun, and I am very excited to have you guys along for the ride on this one. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and like the video, and I will see you guys on Wednesday to make a book box and finish up our mini books from August. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you then.